Mr. Bowtie's Texas High School Sports Machine is driven by Henry Finley and McCombs Ford West, a proud supporter of all area local sports. McCombs Ford West, simply the best. Mr. Bowtie here. Keep banging home that YouTube subscribe button so that way you can stay up to date on all the local coverage not found elsewhere, and follow me on Twitter at Mr. Bowtie 1982. It's fast, it's free, and you'll make my mother proud. Thank you so much and enjoy the show.
Well, I feel like in any situation that coach puts me in, I'll be able to adjust to it. Just being that I started at the 4, and really I kind of played in college. My first 3 years, I was just strictly on the block. So I feel like I learned a lot from the post then. And then last year, I kind of got to spread my game out a lot more. So I feel like if coach puts me at 3, 4, or 5, I'll be able to adapt in that situation.
I just related to that, just, being there with a teammate, making that move together. Does that ease the transition, you think?
Oh, yeah. I mean, always knowing somebody when you're here, y'all kind of know each other on the court and off the court. So I feel like it'll make the process easier.
Thanks, Lyss.
Thank you, Howard. We will turn over to Greg next.
Hey, NaLyssa, Greg Sherman, San Antonio. First off, congrats on getting pick number 2. 2 questions for you. Number 1, the influence of Kiana Williams on the east side of San Antonio girls basketball, I know, has been a big influence for you. Would you talk about her? And number 2, making the transition going from a football state of Texas to Indiana, where all they talk about is basketball.
Oh, yeah. Kiana, that was my teammate. Ever since I grew up in finance, we played on the same team together. So, just always having a leader, always having somebody that's been through this process is a good feeling. And then coming to a basketball state, I love that. I mean, like you said, I've been surrounded by football my whole life. So just to be in a basketball environment, it's going to be a good feeling.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Next we'll go to Charlie Clifford.
Final 4 appearances are showing up with this draft class in Indiana.
No, I haven't. But I remember when I got drafted, the first questions I was asking, who else is coming? Who else is coming? So when I seen the picks that we had, I just knew the team was going to be special.
And a quick follow-up, if I could, a unique part of your game on your floor, when we watch NaLyssa play, how do you describe that intensity?
Just someone that wants to win at the end of the day. I feel like for my team, I'm going to do everything that I need to do to win the game. Whether coach puts me in a place that I'm not comfortable with, I'm going to become comfortable and learn how to adapt in that situation. So just the will to win will help a team rise above everything else.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie. Pat Boylan, go to you next.
Hi, NaLyssa, Pat Boylan with Fever Broadcasting. For those of us who haven't had the chance to meet you, it seems like the mental toughness, that side of your game really drives you. Can you describe where that came from and how it impacts you on the floor?
I'll say it just came from my adversity. I've been through a lot in my life. So just learning to fight through every situation, whether it's basketball or just in life, you got to just figure it out. So I feel like that's what helps me on the court, is just wanting to become the best. I feel if you play with a chip on your shoulder, you're always going to overcome everything. So I feel like I just use everything to motivate me.
Thank you, Pat. Next, we'll go to Matthew Van Tryon.
NaLyssa, coming into this program, to this team as the number 2 pick in the draft, do you feel pressure? I guess, number 1, do you feel pressure? And number 2, how are you going to gauge what success looks like for you in this first season?
No, I don't really feel pressure. I know basketball is a game of who wants it more. People have been playing longer than me, but I feel like if you just adjust, we're all here to play basketball. So I don't really feel no pressure. And then just knowing the season last year didn't go as they wanted it to. So of course we're gonna want to have a better season. But if you play with a chip on your shoulder, like I say, you're gonna overcome that.
Thanks, Matthew. Next we go to Tony East.
Hey, NaLyssa, Emily just talked to us about, the opportunity for her to grow with a bunch of other rookies around, and you talked about it at the draft and asked about that kind of stuff. What do you feel like that does for you and this team, having such a big rookie class all at the same time?
I feel like it gives us time to grow. Nobody's coming in already established. We're all learning at the same time. So just all being in that same situation is going to allow us to grow with each other, on and off the court. I mean, we're going to talk about plays together, talk about like drills that we're doing because we're all new to it. So I feel like it's gonna help us a lot.
Emily also said it could help her grow, like as a human, just knowing that it'd be a little easier to make mistakes. How do you feel about that? Do you feel similarly?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we're gonna have great vets around us, so just being able, to communicate more. Like I haven't really like talked a lot in the past, but now I get to lean on older like players that have been through this just to help me through this journey.
Thanks, Tony. Charlie, you have another one?
All good. Thank you.
Okay. Matthew, we'll go back to you.
NaLyssa, when you look at what these next couple of weeks are going to be like for a rookie in this league, it's pretty well known that even if you are drafted in the first or second round, there's no guarantee, to make a team, just given the limited number of roster spots. I guess, have you ever been through anything similar to this in your career, and kind of what's your mentality going into these next couple of weeks heading into the season?
I would just say it's like the transition from high school to college. I mean, like at the end of the day, you coming in as a rookie, everybody's fighting for a spot. Like we all been playing basketball our whole lives. We all want to continue playing basketball. So it's just about who has that fight in them and who wants to make it to the next level. And I feel like if you want it, then you have to go get it.
Go back to Greg Sherman.
Yeah, and listen, another question from down here in San Antonio. I got to see a lot at East Central, got to see at Baylor. I talked to all the girls basketball players that have mentioned how the high school scene has grown down here. How have you seen it grow, and how do you adjust that again to going up to Indiana, where the high school is still just as good, if not better, as we see down here in Texas?
Well, when you hear about Texas, you don't really hear about basketball. But I feel like now our game in Texas has grown a lot more. You see a lot of products coming out of Dallas, Houston, San Antonio. Like, just the game has grown like right in front of our eyes. And I feel like it's so much talent in Texas that it's finally becoming noticed. And, in Indiana, like you said, it's a basketball state. So I'm excited to see like how the fan base is and how much everybody does love basketball.
Thanks, Greg. Jerry Hill. I think you're on mute, Jerry.
Jerry Hill, Baylor Bear Insider. Liz, I think I had seen where maybe you had reached out or you had talked to some of the former Baylor players about this transition. What kind of advice did you get, whether it was from Kalani, Lauren, or whoever?
They really just said have fun. Like, stay true to yourself. Don't go in thinking like you have to do something out of the ordinary. Like, you got drafted for a reason. They said just stay true to yourself, play how you play, and just keep working.
Is that chip on your shoulder still there because you were picked 2 instead of 1?
I feel like the chip's always going to be on my shoulder until we win a championship.
Thank you, Jerry. Jack Allen.
Hey, Liz, I was just wondering if you could walk us through when did you find out that Queen was going to be teaming up with you, and what was your kind of instant reaction when you learned that?
Oh, I was in media right after I had got drafted. We were doing all the media and stuff. And so, like, I was telling them, keep me updated with everybody that gets drafted to the Fever. And that's when they told me Quinn got drafted. I mean, I was excited. Like, you already know somebody, you know how they play, you're already comfortable with somebody. So I feel like it's going to help a lot.
Thanks, Jack. Back over to Matthew Van Tryon.
NaLyssa, you mentioned kind of the chip on your shoulder that's come from some of the struggles that you've been through and you've had to overcome. Can you kind of, walk me through just what some of those struggles have been and how those have helped you get to the point you are today?
I'll probably say we'll just use last year. I guess 3 years having an old coach and then transitioning to a new coach within 1 year, and like learning to work with somebody within like 9 months of the season, and just growing with only 6-7 players. Like, I feel like that adversity, it just growed a lot on me. Like, cause I could have left, like anybody could have left, and I just stuck it out through that situation because I wanted, Baylor to be a great program, and I wanted to continue my legacy at Baylor. So just using adversity to, get goals.
We'll go to Vern Glenn next. Vern, I think you're on mute. Oh, okay. That's for next one. Anybody else have questions for NaLyssa? Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll throw one more out there. In the Fever were 6-26 last year. The Pacers did not make the playoffs this year. The Hoosiers in basketball did not have a good season. How do you go in there and kind of change that culture right away and be able to let people know that, hey, we're getting Indiana basketball, the state of Indiana, right back to where it used to be at?
I mean, we have some great draft picks. Like, if you looked at the first, second, third round, we got great people that got drafted to this team. So we're all coming in trying to build this program, trying to help this program grow. So if we all collectively want one goal, and that's to win, then we'll get that goal.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Best wishes in Indy.
Thank you.
Looks like we've got another one from Jackie Powell. Jackie, go ahead.
Hey, NaLyssa, this is Jackie Powell with Bleacher Report. Congratulations.
Hey,
I'm curious if you can take me through maybe a moment or a skill that you feel like head coach Nikki Collin really prepared you with moving into the pros.
I'll just say, like, expanding my game. Like, Coach Nikki, she allowed me to, not live on the block the whole game. Like, she allowed me to expand free throw line extended, one dribble pull up. So with her already being from the WNBA, she kind of gave me that inside of the game and just allowed me to, grow my game out last year.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
We got Cheryl Cower, next one.
You mentioned the talented rookies that you're in Indiana with. Is there anything specific about any of them, besides Queen, of course, that you're excited about to play with them and, just in training camp?
Oh, yeah. Destiny, she's a great point guard. She leads perfectly. Like, when we watch the South Carolina games, I played with her at USA. Like, you could tell she just likes to win. And then Emily, she just kind of plays like with that chip on her shoulder. She got like that dog in her. I like that. I like people that love to, compete. And then Lexi, she a great shooter. She has a lot of energy. She went on a great run in Stanford's run. And who else? Amisha, she's great at rebounding and hustling and finishing on the block. And then I forgot the other one from
Allie Pepper.
Yeah, she could shoot too. A lot of energy. So we love people that work hard. And I feel like with this group, we're gonna have a lot. Like, we could do a lot of great things.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything for NaLyssa? Last one, we'll go to Matthew.
Being the number 2 pick in this draft, I guess kind of where do you see yourself fitting into this team from a leadership standpoint? I know that this group has a lot of returning veterans, but do you see yourself kind of immediately stepping into a leadership role, not just with the other, members of this draft class, but with, the other returning members as well?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, coming from Baylor and having to help lead the past 3-4 years, I feel like I want that to transition into the pros. And, leadership is not always about, who's the loudest, who's doing this, just doing things right so everybody can follow you, being first in drills. You can see leadership in many different aspects. So just, helping people out in small ways.
All right. Well, thank you, NaLyssa. Welcome to Indy.